What am I going to talk about? I've been thinking about this for ages, since Tina invited me. And I suppose that's reflective of the fact that I've now been doing life planning, like George Kinder, for some time now. And it's interesting how it's having a pretty deep impact on my practice. But I think three of the things I really want to talk about are leadership, responsibility, and the art of listening. And they're all actually linked in many ways. But I think, before I do that, I go back to the initial premise: what is life planning all about? And I think, someone said earlier on, it's difficult to define life planning, but on the other hand, there is this core premise that you can't deal and manage money unless you know where you're going with your life. And similarly, you can't change your life without addressing your finances. So money and life are interlinked. And I think that's the core premise of what my practice is about. And if you're going into the life planning route, it's what you have to concentrate on. You've got to keep that as a focus. Life and money are interlinked. You can't do one without the other. One of the key skills as a life planner, and really as a financial planner as well, is the ability to listen. And to listen empathically. To listen really deeply, and to understand what the clients are talking about. And I think one of the weaknesses of, not weaknesses, but one of the things that we need probably to do much more of as life planners is learn how to listen. And I know George Kinder talks about this in a lot of detail. And all his practice sessions are all about listening. All those exercises you do on the 7 stages are all listening exercises. But I still think, as a profession, we need to be exploring how we're going to improve our listening skills, how to be really empathic listeners. And what I would ask people here to do today is talk about how one can get training, one can get help in how to listen properly, how to listen empathically. Because it is so important, it is really key to your relationship with clients. And I've been struggling for the last year or so, trying to find out how to do this better, and I haven't got very far yet. So I'd welcome any suggestions, any help that anyone can give. As financial planners and as life planners, we have got to show leadership to our clients. Now that doesn't mean that we sit there and tell the clients what to do with their lives, anything but. The whole principle, the whole process of life planning is actually to help the clients work out for themselves what they're going to do. But we need to be able to lead that process. We need to be able to lead our clients and show leadership. And listening is one of the key skills you need for leadership. And hence the other reason really for being a good listener. It's not only to realise what you're trying to work out what the client wants, but the very process of listening to the client develops that relationship so that you as a financial planner, as a life planner, are in a position to lead the client through the process of life planning. So I harp back to this thing about listening. Aligned with leadership is the whole thing about responsibility. And this actually I find really quite frightening. I find the power of the life planning process really frightening. Because you can build up relationships with clients, and you can get clients to do things which you would never ever have dreamt of doing. And the first time this happened to me, I was utterly shocked at the speed with which a couple who I had in, who had just come as clients, we've been working with them for 2 or 3 sessions, suddenly, literally up sticks and said, right, we're leaving Yorkshire, we're going to live in London. And that just emerged from the whole life planning process. And I think with life planning, I go back to the idea of being responsible. You have a huge responsibility for your clients. A responsibility to make sure that they are actually doing the right thing, but also a responsibility to be there for them when life gets difficult. And I think this too is something that maybe doesn't necessarily come out in the whole sort of, in George Kinder's courses and all the rest of it. But I think we need skills beyond just 7 stages type skills. And when you go down the life planning route, you're almost opening a sort of Pandora's box. And what I find interesting is that of the 8 people who were on my group when I did the 5-day course in Boston, I was the only Brit. The rest were all US citizens, US planners. But of those 8, 6 of them are now either have completed a full life coaching course or are in the process of taking life coaching courses. And I think that's indicative of the fact that if you start going down the life planning route, you need more skills than probably most of us have actually got here, unless you come from a coaching background. And when I deal with clients, I realize that I am actually often in a weak position where I feel that I may be unable to help the client, maybe able to give them advice that they need, or maybe unable to point them in the right direction. And for me, certainly, I am seriously toying now with the idea of going down the life coaching route to be able to give clients that additional help and support, which doesn't actually come out necessarily in the sort of 7 stages Kinder route, and probably with the other life financial planning processes that are around. So I think there's an awful lot one needs to think about going down the life planning route. It needs more skills than probably most of us have, and it needs a real close look at what you're actually letting yourself in for and letting your clients in for. You've got to ask yourself whether you can responsibly go down that route with the skills you've got to actually help the clients in the way that they need and support them in the way they need. That brings me on to my last bit, which is the whole question about time and fees. We've just done a major rehash of all our services at Planning for Life. And we've developed a whole range of new services. You can look at them on our website if you want to see the way we've gone. But in that process, in that analysis of what we were doing, we realized that life planning is really, it is a top-end service. And of the 4 levels of service that we've got, if you're going in for the bottom end of the service, you basically don't get life planning because it takes a lot of time. And you need to make time to support the clients in the changes they're going to make to their lives. And that obviously has cost implications as well. And hence we decided that it's only the top tiers of our service standards that are going to get the full life planning process. Because once you start doing life planning with clients, particularly clients who really gel with it, you find that they're off in directions that neither you nor they ever expected. And you can't just drop them. You've got to let them, you've got to go with them, you've got to support them. And if you're going to do that, it means being available on the phone for meetings whenever they ring up saying, what am I going to do? So I would never put anyone off going down the life planning route. And I think as financial planners, it's a natural fit, life planning and financial planning. More than a natural fit, actually. It's a very important part of the whole process. But I think we've all got to be really aware of what we're letting ourselves in for. We've got to make sure that we have the skills to deal with the problems that our clients are going to come up with. We've got to be able to listen empathically and know how to do it really, really well. We've got to be leaders, we've got to help lead our clients, and we've got to do it responsibly. Thank you.